I was at a book club the other day, and it was so shocking when people said to me, "We felt so sorry for you that you had to work when you were a little girl, going out on those cold mornings and selling the newspaper. Oh, that was terrible. It just wrenched our hearts." I wonder what book they were reading. I just said, "What were you reading?" Because I thought I was the luckiest kid in the world to be out. I looked at kids with their, sandboxes in their backyards. I thought, "Oh, you poor little creatures. I'm out going to taverns. I'm going to bars. I'm delivering, because Roy was, the black delivery car driver, and he and I had a riot, and he showed me what it was like to be black in America. I mean, how many little kids get a chance to do that? Go to Sassy's for fried chicken, do all that was great. Then, of course, I had Catholic school. Catholic school was where, they, it was all about heaven. And then there were my parents who were like the perfect Republicans. So I saw like three completely different worlds. And I thought most kids just see their parents' world. I mean, I thought I was just, I had died and gone to heaven. But you can get into trouble when you've got three perspectives. There's no doubt about that. Example would be Anthony McDougall. When I was in grade 3, Anthony pulled my hair out every day. Literally every day he pulled my hair out. And it looked like, and I had blonde hair, so it looked like scallions. And he would just take these huge tendrils and put them in his desk. So, it got to the point I couldn't brush my hair. It was all red and scabby. So, of course I yelled at him, but he had failed 2 grades. This is back when people actually failed grades. So he was like older than I was. In fact, he was mistaken for the janitor on parent teacher's night. That's how much older he looked. Okay, so what happened then was I went home and I said to my mother, "Anthony McDougall is pulling my hair out and bullying me every day because he sits behind me." It was McClure McDougall, right? So it was all alphabetical order. So my mother said, "Let's have him to lunch and make him a friend." And I knew that was just so pathetic. I knew that was like, I thought, what TV show has she been watching, right? That's just pathetic. So then I went to my father. My father said, "Well, go to the nun and say that you want a seat reassignment." So I did, and she said, "Well, what would happen to alphabetical order? We would have chaos." So then my father said, "Okay, go to the principal. You've got to explain." My father was like, "Take care of yourself. Learn how to take care of yourself. I'm not going to, be your defender. You're a tough girl. Now handle this." So I went to the principal, and she said, "I think you should offer up your sufferings for the poor souls in limbo." So I realized, well, that's going nowhere, right? So one day I'm in the car with Roy. We're delivering medication, and I can't put my head on the back on the headrest. And he said, "What's wrong?" And then I said, "Look at my head." And he said, "This is horrible. This is purple welts. What's going on?" So I explained the whole thing, and he said, "Oh, you got to get him. You got to get him, and you got to get him good." He said, "You got to hit him, and you got to hit him in the mouth, because that's where they'll always bleed if you hit him in the mouth." He said, "And you got to hit him with something sharp, like your lunchbox. Just do it once. Don't get him when you're in a fight. He'll win. He's way bigger than you are." We delivered medication to that house. We delivered enough Valium there to kill a horse. He knew exactly what was going on in that house. So he said, "No, no, no." He said, "What you got to do is get him once when he has no idea what's coming at him, and then he'll stop." So I said, "Oh, okay." So one day we're bisecting our angles in math class, and I saw the sharp compass. And I said, "This would be perfect. It's something sharp." So I turned around. He had red hair and freckles. That kind of where freckles just crowd your face and your whole body. So I turned around, took my compass, and went right in. Well, I actually hit some sort of artery or something. I don't know. But it was this gushing blood. So he stood up, and then his head smashed full speed on the edge of the desk, and he fainted. So the big argument was later, was it from the loss of blood or the sight of blood? But at any rate, so you've got to understand, in 1953 or something, in Catholic school, all they did for you was pray. If you were really, really bad, if you were an axe murderer, they just prayed for you. I had to leave school and see a psychiatrist. That's how bad they thought I was, right? So my mother was like, my mother never yelled at me. My mother just said things like, when you go there, don't say anything angry. Like, don't say anything angry, right? And my father said, "Don't worry, we deliver medication for him." Like, in other words, we've got this all under control. But I could tell they were both pretty shaken by the episode. They didn't say anything, but they were pretty shaken. So then I told Roy about it, and Roy said, fabulous, fabulous. This is great. He said, I've seen them head shrinkers in the army. You know, if you know the day of the week, you'll come home and you'll be fine. And he said, and nobody will ever bully you again. So I was away from school for 6 weeks, went back. One day he cut in front of me in line to sharpen his pencil. I said, get out of my spot in line. He tore out of that spot. And, Roy was right. One episode, what you got to do is stand on firm ground, do something that he's been doing to you all year, and that would be the end of it. So if I had just been this little kid at home, I would have just listened to my mother and father. What was great about that was that I had 3 different solutions and I could pick one that worked.